there's one thing I wanted to mention, which is just like Facebook and Pinterest stuff.
Yes.
It was really like this last week, I saw a couple posts on Twitter and then one in e-commerce fuel where basically people were like, is everyone seeing Facebook ads getting more expensive since like, the last week, since Monday, since January 6th, since January 10th, different days people had, but they're like, we saw a surge in pricing then. Did anyone else see this? And I really wish this existed. I think there's a company that tried to do it, or maybe they're still trying, called Varos, V-A-R-O-S. I know Triple Whale has sort of built it in, but I feel like people aren't relying on these for some reason or another. But really just a Dow Jones narrative is this agency that also sends out weekly emails saying, hey, here's how we've seen CPMs and CPAs for the last week. Mm-hmm. But like, I feel like people still want a real-time Dow Jones of like what to expect with Facebook ads. Like, are prices for most people up today? Are prices for most people down today? I wish that existed. That still doesn't seem to exist.
Yeah, it's definitely been attempted a few times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't exist in an easy way. Like Varos, you can log in and I think you have to connect. Account mine just says locked everywhere. So I can't even look at Varos. But yeah, I mean, if you could go to like, stocks.d2c.com and just look at all the platforms and maybe even break it out by category. Automotive is up 13%, but
beauty is down.
Beauty is down.
Yeah, I think that'd be so helpful. I don't know why that doesn't exist in a great way yet. It would be fantastic.
Somebody should build it like a Zoom info model where to get access to it, you have to authenticate with your account so you can pull data.
Yes.
And then it'd be free to everybody.
Yeah, I would say two things about that. One is that's exactly how I do it. Basically, you have to share data in order to receive data. But it is like, the hard part is I think Facebook would have a trouble with it because they'd be like, look, you have a good sense of what our earnings are going to be like if this is public every day.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that one of the things that I've gotten very worried about is when I give access to data to smaller businesses, they're looking at that data on if I give access to Facebook, if I log in through Gmail, if I log into a big company thing, I'm like, nobody cares about me.
Yeah.
But if I log into small businesses, like not Varos, but let's use a different example because Varos is a real company. Moiz Ali Inc. Yeah. You log in and Moiz Ali Inc. is doing this and he only has 5 of them. He might be going through all 5, seeing the actual CPAs, seeing the actual ads, and sharing that data with other people. And I know this because other people have shared that data with me and I felt really uncomfortable with it. Yeah. And I was like, you have access to someone's something. You probably shouldn't share that data with anybody unless there's a really compelling reason for that brand. And so I'm like always worried where I'm like, I'm sharing data with a small business. That small business may share it, maybe looking at it on an individual basis and sharing it with other people.
I could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
I've literally been at a dinner where a junior employee at like a fintech company in this space has been like, hey, did you know this company's losing this much money per purchase? They're going to be bankrupt by this time. And I'm like, first of all, you're not supposed to look at that stuff.
Yeah.
Second of all, why are you talking about that here?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
There was actually a huge problem with this in Shopify for a really long time. And I'm not sure if it's gotten any better, but maybe it has. They may have fixed things, but I virtually every Shopify employee would have access to virtually every store.
Wow.
And so you could just bribe a Shopify employee to find out sales of another store. Or
there was a case, actually. The FBI cracked down on the case, both at somebody at Shopify and somebody at Meta were both doing this. Meta was giving 2-for-1 credits on ads, and Shopify was basically doing this.
Yeah, this was common at Shopify for a really long time.
Yeah,
and we were never on Shopify. We weren't on Shopify when native was growing, before it was P&G. And I had a Shopify rep, and I'm like, I can't. No, you guys could give data to anybody.
Yeah,
and it's leaking all over the place. I talked to some friends and they'd be like, this business is doing this much in revenue. This business is doing this much in revenue. I'm like, how do you know that? And it was accurate because I remember one time he told me about a business I'd invested in. And I was like, yeah, that is, how do you know this?
Yeah.
And then, I didn't reveal that I knew that the number was accurate, but he's like, yeah, I've got a Shopify rep and you can just ask him and he tells you.
Have you heard of nextbigshop.com?
No.
I'll send you my login. You can basically search any brand, and based on inventory, it'll pull you fairly accurate sales data.